and welcome, guys, to finally a movie on a Monday. Well, we're not. It's not Monday for us, but for you guys, it's a movie on a Monday.
Yeah.
So, finally, we get to one of my movies. Not a movie that was random and I had put on the list, but a movie that I had actually picked. And the movie in question was The Little Mermaid, of which I honestly don't remember when I actually had last seen this movie. I think it was at least like maybe 7 or 8. This was not one of the movies that I've rewatched recently or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a lot of things I did not remember. What about you guys? When was the last time you saw this movie?
Oh god, I don't remember. The last time I distinctly remember watching this was when I was like 5.
Oh wow, that's even longer than
I feel like I did watch it at some other point before age 10, but I don't have a very clear recollection of it. So let's say that the last distinct time I watched it was when I was 5.
Oh, actually, that was a lie. The last time I've seen them, the last time I saw the movie was probably like maybe 7 or 6 or something. But I have seen like the Broadway Little Mermaid. I think when I was like 12 or something like that. But it's not really.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. So, Alan, how about you?
I have never seen this before.
Cool.
Now, that's okay. So I have to say something though. I feel like I might have told you this at some point, or at least maybe Maya told you this at some point. But remember how I had have sort of like an irrational hatred for the music in Frozen?
Yeah.
I kind of have a similar thing with the music here, and I acknowledge it's irrational. And here's why.
Okay.
It's because of Kingdom Hearts 2.
So
in Kingdom Hearts 2, you go to Atlantica. That's one of the worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the thing. Anyone who's played Kingdom Hearts 2 knows that Atlantica is the worst part of the game. Because it's literally just like 5 like music things where you have like some quick time events to music. And that's it. And it's like, and the thing is like, it's not even like DDR, like that kind of thing. It's like slow. So it's like boring at the same time. And the thing is, it's actually optional. It's one of only 2 worlds, I believe, that's optional. The other one actually being the Winnie the Pooh one. Which the thing is, that one, I actually like the Winnie the Pooh one better because that one is also like mini games, but some of those mini games are actually kind of fun. There's one that's like a whole like a slide kind of thing. That one's actually kind of fun. But this one is just boring, and I just don't really like this style of music anyway. It's just, the sort of standard Disney kind of princess music is not my thing. So it's just that combined with the really boring aspect of Kingdom Hearts. And like the thing is, like you say, well, it's optional, you don't have to do it. True, but what you get from completing it is like stuff that is really helpful. So you really should do it. So it's just like, this is like the worst part, and it's like, so every time when I would get to this part, I'd always be like, I hate Little Mermaid so much, and like, it largely covers like the plot of the movie, at least the main parts of it. Like, okay, there's the first initial thing, which is like the I think the first song. What is the first song they do? I don't even remember. See, I don't remember the shit at all. But like, basically, it covers. It's like there's the initial performance, and then there's the Ariel is like sad song, and then there's Under the Sea, and then I feel like I'm forgetting one. But and then
World,
well, that's the second, yeah. And then no, there's no Kiss the Girl thing, that's not in here. But then there's like the Ursula battle or whatever, and then they have like a new song as like an epilogue, which I don't remember at all, to be honest. So it's like 5 or 6 of them, and it's just like really slow and not exciting, and it's lame. So with that in mind, even though I haven't seen this movie before, I kind of came into it with a little bit of a kind of feeling. And it's better than I thought it was going to be. I don't love it. It is, but okay, what's interesting to me is that, so I was surprised at first that this movie came out in '89 because I thought it was a little bit later. But to be
Mhm.
honest, after watching it, it feels like that makes sense because it not only in terms of both visuals and also characters in the story, it very much
Yeah.
feels like sort of a transition from like the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s Disney into like the
Yeah.
90s, 2000s Disney. It's like right in
Yeah.
that transition of like things shifting from one thing to the other. Because like the overall story is very kind of standard old school Disney story, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
But the characters are a little bit more involved and a little bit more interesting and more towards like, you know, the 90s, 2000s Disney.
Yeah.
In terms of what's going on. So it's this, and also visually, I've noticed the transition is kind of similar too, where some of the shots look kind of like old school animation style, but some of them look more interesting and more dynamic than they were before. So it's just interesting kind of to see that, you know, us watching it now, of course, like, what do we determine 33 years later?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So in that sense, it's interesting how it's kind of fits that role of a transition.
Yeah, I agree because this was very much because I think like when we had watched like other Disney movies, they kind of definitely followed the straight from fairy tale formula kind of. It was very because fairy tales are not very character driven stories usually. So Ariel's story, and I think we all know what the actual ending of Little Mermaid is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I used to know, but I forgot.
So the actual ending for Little Mermaid is that she turns into sea foam at the end because, well, it wasn't a sea witch per se that married the prince, but the prince just chose someone else, basically.
The prince was kind of an asshole.
Yeah. So Eric being a himbo is actually not great for me.
Yes, Eric is a himbo, and it's so funny. His head is so empty.
But yeah, I definitely see what you mean, and it kind of gets my appreciation from that standpoint too, like seeing the transition, because you can see where like some of the tropes probably started, like the little sidekick that actually and all not everything. You don't get like the genie comedy kind of thing just yet, but there are some really comedic scenes in here that I just didn't remember.
The chef.
Like all three of us were laughing so hard at the chefs.
Oh my god. No, that like honestly there are some scenes like that whole scene is like kind of like nightmare fuel if you think about it from Sebastian's perspective. It's like wow.
There are a lot of scary scenes like Ursula crawling on the deck of the boat.
That was so terrifying how it was shot.
I did not remember that. And then Eric wholesale stabs Ursula in the gut with the bow of his ship, and she dies.
Yeah, that's like as opposed to all the other things where it's like characters just die from falling, or they kind of died of their own thing, like in Tarzan where he kind of hangs himself by accident.
Yeah.
But here he actually just wholesale just goes in for the kill.
There is literal murder in this movie.
And then Ursula's like really creepy cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the I don't know what the little creatures are supposed to be, but it's just
I don't think they're supposed to be anything.
Oh, and then Eric almost dies because there was gunpowder on the ship and it fucking explodes.
Yeah, I thought he just died because he didn't get off the ship. But apparently he was saving Best Boy from the thing. Best Boy being the dog, which I knew there was a dog in this film, but he was the smart one. He was the one like, Eric, this is the girl you're looking for. And then Eric's like, no, this can't be the girl. And the dog's just like, why?
Yeah, and like
why Eric is a himbo.
Because they often do this kind of thing. Oh, like the animal knows the truth, but the human doesn't, or whatever. But here, like the whole point is that they have the dog like smell her earlier on, so like it makes total sense that the dog knows, but he doesn't. So it's not just random dog knows because it's like, oh yeah, okay.
Dog sniffs fish girl.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then what was it? Oh, okay. So the joke of this is that all of this started just because Ariel's horny, right? So like that's kind of the joke and whatever about her, and like yeah, but honestly, it's like it's not as like weird and bad about it as I thought it would be. Like I don't know, it doesn't bother me as much as I thought it would for some reason. Like it's not great, but like it works enough, I guess. I don't know.
I guess the difference is I guess looking at it from an adult perspective, teenagers are kind of stupid.
Yeah. She's 16.
She's 16. The thing
you are talking to a high school teacher. I know.
Exactly. You know this. So the thing is that I kind of get why, because when you're 16, when you're a teenager, the whole like, oh, I want to be in a romantic relationship kind of thing is kind of something that is like big and prominent. And usually teenagers can do some pretty stupid stuff when, like, say your parents don't understand certain things and trash your room.
Yeah, that was
essentially what happened here. It's kind of like you see how Trident could have resolved the situation, but then did not resolve the situation correctly. Mm-hmm. And you're kind of like, okay, I can see why Ariel. Because the part that I didn't remember is that Ariel actually flat out refused to go to the Sea Witch at first. And then out of like anger at the main reason
she was being rebellious.
Yeah, the main reason she's going is not because she was like, she did love the prince, but it wasn't her first thought to like get legs like I originally thought it was. Her first thought was, I want to be rebellious because he destroyed everything that I wanted, and so I'm going to go and take on my dream no matter what. So I think that's probably why it kind of feels like I can understand.
At least the logic makes sense.
Yeah, the logic makes sense. And the fact that she's 16 also makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and something else is gonna. Oh, something that again, I'm comparing Eric to think like the prince in like Snow White or like Cinderella or like those movies. It's like where those princes like did nothing. Like nobody gives a shit about those princes. But like, and Eric again, he's not like a fantastic character, but he actually like has some character and does things. So it's like again, it's the transition, right? I wish that they actually like, because they have that sort of montage where the two of them are like together through like the town and like again the whole Kiss the Girl song or whatever. Which honestly, that whole song, the whole scenario is just like completely ridiculous, but whatever. I kind of wish they actually had like, well, I mean, I guess it's not dialogue because Ariel can't speak, but like, you know what I mean? I wish there was actual character interaction besides just a montage. But again, it's something. It's more than what we got in previous movies. So, you know,
I agree with that. Like, I wish we saw more like of the carriage scene where Ariel he was like, here, you can have the brains. And then she's like, yes. And you see that look of terror in Eric.
Eric has trauma in his eyes. That boy is traumatized.
I was just like, oh my god, this is hilarious. Yeah, I wish we got more of that because, definitely, I think he's like the second prince to be named because Philip was the first prince in Sleeping Beauty to be named. But yeah, he definitely has more personality. I mean, now when you see the amount of people like Prince Naveen and all that stuff, now you're just like, okay, he doesn't have as much personality, but for the time he has a lot of more personality, and Ariel does too, because prior to this it's just like, oh, I'm in this sad situation and stuff, or oh, I am nice
and that's it.
But here it's like she has more personality and stuff, and she does quips and all those things. And you can, like, I don't know what Cinderella's hobbies are. I can at least say what Ariel's hobbies are, which is going through shipwrecks and like collecting stuff.
That's pretty messed up if you think about it. She's like, hey, Deb, let's take things.
Well, as someone who does like shipwrecks and everything, I can perfectly understand that. But yeah, it's like, okay, I can actually name hobbies of Ariel's. Like her singing is one hobby. Her like collecting things is another hobby and stuff. It's like, okay, I can actually name traits of hers that don't have to do with her just falling in love with Eric. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I came into this already with like, again, I was not trying to dislike it. I was just like, I was actually specific, like, okay, let me try to like this more than I think I will, given how I feel about, the music and stuff. And also given, what people have said about, like, Ariel being, like, a dumb bitch or whatever. And, like, again, I can't exactly say it's wrong, but I think it overall works in how the movie is presented. So, I like this more than I thought I would. Again, I don't love it, but it's... Again, I was expecting to feel, like, neutral toward this, and I did like this more than neutral. One thing that I did think was interesting is, like, this movie, it's short. Like,
it's really short.
It feels short, to be honest. It's like,
Yeah.
So it's kind of one thing where, again, for example, expanding on having Ariel and Eric interacting with each other, that would not feel like a stretch or anything. I feel like that would fit very nicely.
They could have done that.
Yeah.
Comfortably.
Yeah. So, but yeah, overall, I don't know. I am satisfied, I guess, is the best thing I can say. Once again, I did not expect to say that going into this, so there.
I have a new appreciation for Eric because he's a dumb himbo and he murdered Ursula.
Yeah. I mean, for the most of... It was not my least favorite Disney movie. Maybe eventually we'll get to that. But,
we saw the threequel of yours.
Shush.
We did?
But,
wait, am I dumb?
Wait, then I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
But I will say, while it hasn't become my favorite Disney movie, we've already watched my favorite Disney movie.
Oh yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah.
The very first one.
That was the very first one we watched together. But I will say that I don't dislike it and I apologize to the film for disliking it for about almost my whole life. Yes. Not as bad as I thought it is, and I apologize to the film for that.
I would like to rewatch the Lindsay Ellis video. Oh, poor Lindsay Ellis. The Lindsay Ellis video about Little Mermaid, because she also had revisited the movie since I think overall, like, it seems that people are generally split into two camps with, maybe three camps with Little Mermaid: people who love it, people who hate it, and people who don't care either way.
I think I'm in the third camp.
Yeah. So it's I feel like for a lot of girls, especially when they're teenagers, we tend to have this stage where we don't like Little Mermaid, because I also had that stage, because it's like people, like straight white men, they like to stereotype teenage girls as like, oh, Ariel, she's like beautiful, she doesn't say anything, and she falls in love with Eric. Like, please love us fuckboys. And we're like, no, we are not like Ariel, so like, give us a break. But now seeing how Ariel actually is, she is a person.
Also, Eric is like Eric is an actual person and not just like a shithead. So yeah.
He's Ursula. Like, oh, sorry, but that too, Ursula's whole point was that she was trying to down. Like, if you listen to some of her lyrics in the song and stuff, it is basically what you said, where she was like basically pointing out that she was calling out like
how certain people view women and teenage girls. And I appreciated that, and I was like, Ursula is a bad bitch, but she also deserved to get stabbed.
Girl boss.
Keep the girl boss after she gaslit everyone.
Well, so do we move to ratings, a thing which we have not done in literal months?
Yeah, I guess so.
Jesus.
Okay. Should I go first, maybe?
Sure.
Okay. So, again, I was coming into this thinking like, like a 5, maybe a 6 or whatever. I'm actually going to give it a 7. And honestly, I think it's a decently high 7. So, which is definitely more than I thought I was going to give it.
Oh, I was actually thinking 7 too. So you can give this 7.
There we go.
I'm thinking, give me a second. You can.
I was going to say, had you asked me like a couple, like when I was like 14 or something, I would have given it like a 2. But so this is a very big upgrade.
Yeah.
If you'd asked me from Kingdom Hearts 2, I would have given it like a 1.
See, Valen, when I was 14, I already had experienced Shark Tale, so that's why this is a 2, not a 1.
Let's not bring up that trauma again.
No.
No one needs to remember that.
That's
movie.
a different ocean movie. I rather watch this a million times than watch Shark Tale a million times ever again.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll probably also give it a 7, mostly because like it's still not my most favorite. I still feel pretty lukewarm about it. At least it's better than me being like having baggage associated with being a female presenting person. So yeah, fuck all you fuckboys. You can get stabbed like Ursula.
No, because Ursula is representing.
Oh, true. No, never mind. Don't get stabbed like Ursula. Fall into the ocean after gunpowder explodes and die.
There you go.
Yeah. Very unceremonious death.
There you go.
And then your corpse will get pilfered by a mermaid.
I guess with that, Valen, do you want to say what your show is?
Yes. So, I had actually been thinking about this for quite a while, because again, there was the January stuff where we'd already kind of set that in advance, and then officially my last show before that was Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, but we'd also kind of decided that in advance also. So
yeah.
The last show that I had actually decided kind of in the moment was Infinity Train Season 3 back in like August. So
Yeah.
I was thinking for a while, like, what do I want to do next? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't have anything that really speaks out to me. It's like something obvious. And then near the end of 2021, I watched a show, and I'm like, holy shit, this is easily the best thing I saw this year. And I am definitely showing this, at least the first part, to you two as soon as possible. So we're watching Arcane.
Oh, I've heard about that. Okay. That's the League of Legends one, right?
Yes. So
I felt like you would pick that because I don't remember if you mentioned watching it, but I remember it was like
it's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it was like widely acclaimed. So I knew it would come up eventually.
Yes. So again, this was easily the best thing I saw last year, like in terms of shows. It honestly wasn't even that close. The only reason I don't, because I did my whole end of year show thing that I made last year, and I still gave it a 9 out of 10. The only reason I didn't give it a 10 out of 10 is entirely because it is a season 1, and I just feel weird giving a season 1 a 10 out of 10. Like that's the only reason. But like everything else, again, it was easily the best thing I've seen. Again, I don't know shit about League, so it's nothing to do with that. My League knowledge is like there's maybe like 5 characters that I like recognize, but I recognize them in terms of like their name and what they look like. I know nothing about them at all besides that. And also, almost all the characters I know are not even in this show. So I don't know anything about the story. I don't know anything about personalities or anything like that. So there's nothing about that you have to worry about. We are going to be watching. So there's 9 episodes that are out. Each one is like 40 minutes. So we're watching the first 3.
Okay.
The show is also sort of split in thirds, sort of.
Oh,
so it actually it does kind of work perfectly. I don't want to say anything else.
All right. I can't wait. Is there a good transition from Little Mermaid to Arcane?
Maya mentioned someone picking through corpses.
Oh, great. All right.
All right.
We're going to do that.
So that's the best thing I got.
There we go. Oops. I guess with that riveting transition, goodbye.
Bye.